8 a.m. Over coffee and donuts, the managers and leaders of the National Marine Fisheries Service gather to begin a challenging task. They are beginning a process that will culminate in the redesign of their organization. A challenge so complex as to defy solution by one manager or even by a group of managers using traditional problem-solving and decision-making techniques.
Obviously, one could sit down with capable, talented people in a one or three or four person arena or less and design an agency's wiring diagram and to state its functional statements and do those traditional things in a bureaucracy of setting up the structure of an agency. That could easily be done. There's no doubt about it, and is often done, far too frequent in my view, without the benefit of the views of the people who are going to fit into the boxes. It becomes a threatening experience then to be structured in that way. They perhaps are wary of the objectives of the supervisors by putting them in those boxes. They don't understand the rationale behind it, and they may feel uncertain of their future. The other approach, I think, leads to the point of view, I was a part of the design work. Having been part of it, I believe in it, I understand it, why it was done this way, and I think morale is much higher. The attitude of the worker is one, hey, I designed it, I've got to make it work. And so there's a far more devotion to the job and to the agency, having been a part of it, than you would find in a more sterile approach to it, where the supervisor said, this is the way it's going to be. Again, I think that's part of the move toward the future.
The staff of NMFS will tackle this complex task with a new approach. An approach which will move them further along the road to an improved organization than they currently think possible. NMFS has chosen to attack its design challenge through interactive management.
When we started working with them, it became apparent that as they were looking ahead to design the organization of the future, they were capable of anticipating a menu of problems for their external and internal environment and future, which was significantly large. I think they had about 95 or 96 individual problem statements. Given the number of problems, obviously, one has to work very hard, not only to articulate those problems, but to clarify their meanings for the benefit of everybody that has been asked to participate. And then to organize those problems into a system of problems that some people have called the problematic, namely to recognize that those problems are interdependent. They are not to be treated independently. And also to have the participants recognize that some of those problem statements are to be perceived, or they will come out of the discussion as being fundamental and some as being symptomatic. And it is to the benefit of the participants, after they come with this realization, or when they appreciate that, to invent solutions that distinguishes between tackling fundamental problems and tackling symptomatic problems. So you are better off, if you are a designer of solutions, to be able to distinguish between fundamental and symptomatic problem statements. Now, very few alternative approaches, to the best of our knowledge, are capable of sensitizing the participants to that kind of a distinction, of building up the system of problems. And having done that, after they explore the interdependencies among the original problem set, to put them into the solution posture and to help them invent options or opportunities for resolving those problems as they were displayed visually on one of our display walls. That is something that very few processes, to our knowledge, are capable to do it in a very methodical, systematic, and managed way.
Interactive management is guided by the three principal functions of managers: intelligence, design, and choice. The key to the success of interactive management lies in its unique combination of 5 components. A group of participants who collectively possess the expertise. A facilitator who is highly skilled in managing the tension and troubles associated with difficult issues. Computer equipment and programs capable of assisting the group in organizing relationships among a wide set of variables. A collection of new and improved group management technologies selected to improve creativity, productivity, and efficiency. And a dedicated environment, supportive of comfort, information display, and other factors critical to success. Interactive management allows decision makers to avoid the most common and destructive impulse forced on them by today's organizations. The IM process focuses managers toward first defining problems and then working toward solutions.
NMFS. So it reads now, inadequate legislative or regulatory authority within NMFS to deal with the entire problem of managing LMR. Any questions? Number 4, pressure or need to provide economic and sociological data with no more dollars. David, question that has been identified.
This is the intelligence function, and it is the first phase of the interactive management process. Step 1 of the intelligence phase is to define the problem situation and even to find new or hidden problems. To maximize the use of managers' valuable time and to encourage creativity, the IM facilitator guides the participants in the nominal group technique, delineating or listing as many aspects of the problem situation as possible.
The third step of that process is I will record the ideas by going around the table and asking each one of you to read one of your ideas, and I will write it as you read it. It allows for silent generation of ideas as opposed to brainstorming that people just sort of verbalize ideas in some organization or some sequence. And also the more important distinction is that the ideas are clarified. They impose on the participants the discipline of clarifying the ideas for the benefit of everybody sitting around the table. We try not to suboptimize. To the extent that is feasible, we try to retain the variety that the situation requires. So if you retain variety, then you should compare efficiency with another strategy that retains variety. Now let me also say that the approach is applicable and is relevant to those situations, either problems or designs, for which variety is essential and it's required. If you don't require variety, you don't need groups to get together. You can have one person, individual, or a small group of 2 or 3 individuals do it. We are talking about having or dealing with situations such as designing a product or designing a process or designing an organization, that you can only do it meaningfully and responsibly by bringing the variety that the situation dictates.